It's also because you're so bold. I have to say, because you and I met when I gate crashed Ivan's show.
Yeah, that's the first time we met.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We had talked before, but we never
had talked
met.
before, but we hadn't met. And I just, I love to be around you.
I love to be around you.
I really do.
You are a genius and a beautiful woman, a beautiful person.
And so are you.
Thank you so much.
You really are.
We got to start some shit, and we don't have much time. What do you think's going to happen? Well, you've got to go off on the Chinese now.
Okay,
Go on.
all right. So
because you're a prophetess.
So
you're an oracle.
This is the best episode we've ever done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are. I'm not talking about what the good guys are doing. I'm just talking about what the bad guys, for want of a better term, are planning. Now, this doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to happen. Because,
right, but this is their plan.
And in every war, both sides get a vote, right?
Yes.
So the other side gets a vote too. So there could be people working to stop this and counter these things.
Of course there are.
So I want
to say this. In every war, which I learned because I used to be a leftist in the 60s.
Yeah.
And, I was in there. Half the shit them leftists say I probably wrote. I'm telling you the truth.
It probably is true.
It is true because we took our case to the Supreme Court and won it in the 70s.
Wow.
I'm a thinker, and I was always involved in social. I care about working people. I care about fairness for working people, because I seen them all work themselves to death and then lose their house on top of it. Yeah. I don't like that. And I know like God doesn't like it either. Anyway, forgetting my train of thought here.
So here we go.
No, but wait, what was I doing, Jake?
You were talking about being a leftist in the 60s
and we were talking about two sides in every war.
Yeah,
here's what I learned in the 60s, but I was pretty much in the Black Panther Party.
Yeah, when the left was
cool. When I ran for president, I ran as the representative of the Black Caucus of the Black Panther Party.
Wow.
And they couldn't fucking deal with that. And then they blackballed that all out of existence. But because the working class is largely black in America.
You had more black support than Kamala.
And Oprah, and that's why Oprah freaked out on me. She canceled my show because I had more of a black demographic than her. And she's pissed. But anyway, that's a whole other subject.
Yeah, what are you saying? Sorry.
Okay.
But wait, I'm not done.
Yeah, what are you saying? I'm waiting for you to get to
But what I was going to say was, Jake, what am I going to say?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
I was going to say that, in every revolution is always on the same side, a negotiator and a bomber on the same side. People make a mistake in thinking that's two sides, but it ain't. They're always on the same side.
The negotiator and the bomber.
Yeah.
Is there one on each side? So there's four?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I've never heard this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm, that's how they do. They not only create consent, they create dissent too.
Absolutely.
On the same side.
100%.
Okay, so now.
And actually, sometimes, like if you're like the Iranians,
what's the reason
who are the masters of having proxies, like in Iraq, they'll have like 15 proxies. So that if one of their proxies, like Muqtada al-Sadr, when he became really, popular and started to gather his own power, well, they've got, Kataib Hezbollah, led by Mohandas, and all these, they have all these other organizations to bring you down and create conflict at home. So now you're not able to concentrate on that because now you've got this problem in your backyard.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, 100%.
You know what I call it all?
What?
Fundraising scams.
Yeah,
all that friggin' war.
That's true
what's
too.
What's the reason
that's
for
true
this?
Too.
Like, why would you do this?
Well, because if you've got proxies fighting for you, you never want them to get out of control.
Divide and conquer, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Divide and conquer, but reward this one more than the other, and you have your, they occupy different levels, right, of closeness to you. But that's what's well, and that's another thing, but I mean, that's what's extraordinary about what we're witnessing in the Middle East right now.
Absolutely.
Is that Iran's proxies are being obliterated across an entire region all in one go, and it's mind-blowing. But coming back to the U.S., let me tell you about some of the things I've learned about, which I do not believe are all They're not all encompassing. There's other things that are going on that I don't know about.
Yeah.
But I'm in touch with a number of different groups. Some of them are in Afghanistan. Some of them are American. A lot of them are American. A lot of them are different groups in the U.S. And they have different specialties. Some people I talk to are real cyber specialists, and they're just looking at data and what they're seeing in the cyber realm. Others, worked in the highest levels of the government in the military, and very, very good at what they do. And there's, and unfortunately, I know people say, well, why can't you tell us who? Well, because this is a death fight in a covert war, and you can't give up. You can't. Are you all good? You can't give it all that up because we're still at war. Anyway, you want water?
No,
wine?
No, I got my booze.
Okay,
but
so
we
this
are
is
going to
what.
talk about Space Force too, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll happily talk about
continue.
that. But so what they're tracking, what a number of different people are tracking, is multiple lines of operation. I think the biggest takeaways are this: number one, the Chinese, the Iranians, the Venezuelans, the Cubans, all of these people, U.S. adversaries, they have made good use of the vacuum in American power.
Mm-hmm.
They know that the U.S. is eating itself alive, and that from within this country, Americans are dismantling everything that it means to be American, everything that it means to be a sovereign nation. And they've built global institutions which have local government infrastructure, which they see all of that. And if you think they've been sitting there just twiddling their thumbs, not figuring out how to exploit that, well, you're an idiot and I can't help you.
Yes.
Step aside. Okay, I got no time for you. Sorry. Look at that field of fucks again. Nothing. So this is what they've been doing. They work, for example, in Venezuela. The president of Venezuela, Maduro, he went into the prisons and he didn't find bad people on the street. He went to the most violent criminals,
rapists
behind bars, rapists, whatever,
pedophiles, murderers,
everything you can imagine.
Cannibals like Jeffrey Dahmer and shit.
And out of that, he built Tren de Aragua.
Yes, he did.
That's where it came from. And then they unleashed those beasts. But who do they work with? Whether it's Blackstone, BlackRock, you name it, right? The money people. So the money people come in, and some of them have been tracked, flying into Venezuela, going into the prisons and making a deal. So you got Tren de Aragua, who is conveniently, thanks to our open border policy and the UN Global Compact on Migration that's been implemented here against the will of the American people, they have an entry point into the U.S., right? Okay, so, and what do they have as cover? Well, they have every poor person who's desperately trying to find a better life, they provide the cover, which is an old tactic, and it works. Yeah. So what happens? They come in, they've been paid to make Miami, New York, Atlanta, and there's one more, Miami, New York. Chicago. Very important.
Chicago, you know what I say about Chicago?
What?
I'm just going to watch your eyes while I say this because, there aren't many people who get me. But I figured out about when I was in the left and I was hanging out with the left.
Uh-huh.
Chicago is the home of Hamas.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me in the least.
In the least.
Not in the least. Because look at the level of violence in Chicago. That's an indicator, right? Because
it's a social experiment.
And beyond now how that's been
Gaza.
Now how that's been exploited is Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación, CJNG, the most violent of all the Mexican cartels that came up by building its business globally. They're in more than 48 countries, right?
Right.
They weren't stupid enough to start as the little guys in Mexico. They built up their empire globally, and then they took care of business in Mexico. Well, who are they aligned with?
Well, I know they're aligned with the Pope down there in Argentina. You know about him, right?
Oh, please.
Please, let's go there, girl.
Oh, the Pope is not a Pope. I mean, he is a terrible, terrible, terrible puppet.
So you see